dynasty of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni reigns over Ugandans for more decades to come is what Ugandans are standing up against in this election of 2021. This is Adjumani. We are moving out of Adjumani. We are moving out of Adjumani. These people didn't get a chance to see the President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu talking to them. Oh my God, just amazing. It's just amazing. The people of Adjumani, the people of Adjumani are yearning, are thirsty. They wish they had their rally yesterday, but the bad roads couldn't allow Kyagulanyi to arrive here on time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. The mission to freedom. The mission to freedom. Good morning, everyone. Moving out of Adjumani. The mission to freedom is going to Noya, Omoro, and Amuru in Acholi Subregion. Madam Lina Zedriga Waru, the Vice President in charge of Northern Uganda, we salute you. Ghetto Media Tusimbude, that's a slogan for my brother Ronald Uganda Mugenyi. Ghetto Media Tusimbude. Kayendo Oscar, the umbrella. It will be coming soon. It will be coming out soon. Wow, wow, wow. Old rule of President Museveni. This is the National Unity Platform in Adjumani. Wow, wow, wow. Hereni namakula. Mama Hereni Heres namakula. Thank you for the offer. Katumalize struggle. I really appreciate. The president is putting on his bulletproof. Maybe you guys think he only has one, but what he's putting on is also bulletproof. Yes, it's not just a jacket. No, he won't be coming back to Adjumani. You are seeing him for the last time until after swearing in, because the time is against his ally. morning, everyone. This is another bright day as we march into freedom as promised by the National Unity Platform. Acholi Subregion, here we come. Omoro, Noya, and Amuru. Good morning, my brother Cleo Chibumbi. Good morning to the guys that work hard to see that the president is safe. The easy security and his personal bodyguards, Cleo Chibumbi, Eddie Mutwe, and many others. We love you. Up front, we shall be shooting against the sunlight like that, so you might think the camera is dirty, but please bear with us until we turn and get a very clear view. The people of Mbarara just know we shall be coming there to campaign. The party leadership is working around the clock to see that the people of Mbarara get their day of the message of freedom to come into their ears and their eyes. We salute all Ugandans and non-Ugandans who have supported this campaign with every little thing that they have. God bless you. This is the National Unity Platform here in Adjumani. Yesterday these people ran more than 4 kilometers to the hotel where the president slept and ensured that he's safe before they went back to their homes. I won't forget one man who came with his wife. I don't know whether it's a wife or a girlfriend. He walked with us and while holding the wife's hand, saying, "Mr. President, this is my first lady Fatuma. This is my first lady Fatuma. Can you please see her? After taking you to State House, I'm also taking her to my State House. Fatuma, come and step the president see you." Unfortunately, it was dark. The president couldn't come out of his car to see Fatuma, the first lady of that gentleman. That was so inspiring. The guy is inspired by the president's love with Babi. This guy. Oh God. Okay, that young man really inspired me too. 14th January is the day to remember, the day we must all wake up. Hey. I'm the soldier.
Coach.
Bobi yanga fune moroka.
Ngamba bana basaka. Coach fune moroka. Uyongere ko tuzeko mu bantu.
Okay, we are moving to Noya, Omoro, Amuru, and Noya. That's Acholi Subregion. We are saying bye to West Nile. Saying bye to West Nile.
Hello Ugandans, our country's former glory is all gone. Corruption rates are alarming, service deliveries at its worst, and women are dying while giving birth. Unexplained murders everywhere, and the judiciary is a mockery. Our children face an uncertain future, where unemployment is the order of the day. The national debt has turned us into slaves.
Alright comrades, thanks for joining in. This is JB Muwonge. Hope you had a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, a good day, wherever you are watching from. First of all, thanks for joining in. I can see the number is growing bigger and bigger. Yeah, bigger and bigger. Thanks for joining in. Yes, the president of the National Unity Platform, just like I told you yesterday, let us wait for the official communication from the president, and at least we have come to the know that he's not going to be able to address the people of Adjumani. He has proceeded to Amuru. He has proceeded to Amuru, where he's going to have his first rally. So that is the program, and then from there he's going to go to Omoro, and then from Omoro he's going to go to Noya. That is the program lineup for today. Thanks for joining in. I'm sure you're having a wonderful time. And just like I told you yesterday, Amuru is in the Acholi Subregion. He's done with the West Nile Subregion. Now he's entering the Acholi Subregion, which is made up of 80 districts, including Gulu, including Chitugumu, including Omoro, Amuru, Noya, Agago, and Iramo. So those are the districts he's going to be traversing these 3 days. Then you also need to know that Amuru district harbors around 1.5 million Ugandans. So it is somehow populated, and those are statistics of Southern Torof. So expect more people in this region as well. That's the program. As the president is going, let us as well listen to some revolutionary message from the president. I always want us to get this message on a daily basis. Yeah, I'm giving you an audio from Chagulani Centum Robert when he was calling us bloggers, journalists, musicians, lawyers, teachers, doctors, to come out, not to keep quiet when our country is sinking deep in the mess. So I want you to pay attention to this message.
Country's former glory is all gone. Corruption rates are alarming, service deliveries at its worst, and women are dying while giving birth. Unexplained murders everywhere, and the judiciary is a mockery. Our children face an uncertain future, where unemployment is the order of the day. The national debt has turned us into slaves, and the gun has become the master. The one-time pearl of Africa is now a laughing stock among nations. All our public assets have been sold, and as if it's not enough to satisfy their appetite, after selling almost all public properties, the government now wants to take people's private land. You have put your names on the national wall of shame. Remember that there will be a time when you must account for this nonsense. You should think about how you want to be remembered, whether as men and women who loved their country, or as people who thought only about themselves. You should also remember that you swore an oath to bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda and uphold its constitution. You did exactly the opposite of what you sought to do. And before I forget, I want to thank those few patriotic NRM MPs. You are heroes, and please maintain your stand. Do not bow down to pressure. And to President Museveni, in 1986, you asked for 4 years to reorganize the country and hand over power to a civilian government. We agreed. You personally said that Africa's problem was not the people, but the leaders who overstay in power. In 1990, you asked for 5 more years to be able to enact a durable constitution for the nation, and then go. We agreed. In 1995, you asked for a new mandate under the constitution. You asked for 5 more years. We agreed. In 2001, you requested the nation to renew your mandate for the last constitutional term. We agreed. In 2005, you moved to remove presidential term limits. You told us that you wanted only 5 years to be able to consolidate your achievements. We agreed. And then in 2011, you came back. You campaigned under the Prosperity for All slogan. You promised that poverty would be history in Uganda after that term, and that you would return to Rwachitura and look after your cows. These were your words. 2016 came, and again you came back, asking for the very, very last term. Yes, in a televised address, you told the nation, and you swore that you would certainly not lead beyond 75 years of age. You told us that after 75, a leader would no longer have the vigor required to run a country.
That one, I think that one we had ignored. We had not discussed it. It can be discussed, but since we had not, but I think after 75, the vigor, I think there's some scientific idea there that maybe the vigor is not as much after 75 years. So that one I wouldn't quarrel with some. I know there are some leaders who have been leading even beyond 75, but I think if you want very active leaders, it should good to have the ones below 75.
So are you saying you wouldn't go beyond 75 yourself, sir?
Not at all.
So are you saying you wouldn't go beyond 75 yourself, sir?
Not at all.
You promised that your last term would be a term pledging to fight and end corruption. Well, Mr. President, you have failed us on all these promises, and our hope was that you would end your term in 2021 and give way for the nation to begin a new chapter. And if you do that, the nation will be grateful for your contribution. Mr. President, Bob Marley said, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You cannot lie to a whole nation and think each time you will get away with it. As a good reader of history, you should remember
ambulance,
that history repeats
that's police
itself.
officer. Police patrol zetomedde. Police patrol zetomedde zombi. Omusirikale ali bubi. Police patrol zetomedde. Oh my God.
Okay, for those that don't understand what's going on, because Ashraf has been communicating in Uganda, what's going on, the police patrols have knocked themselves, and one of the police officers is not in good shape. The police patrols, they have engaged in a fatal accident yeah, that's what is currently happening. Let's get back and hear very well.
Are you full? Full. Yeah, you full. I don't know why I'm
Tulemu kunywa mafuta. We are refilling our vehicles. We are refilling our vehicles before we proceed to Amuru in Acholi Subregion. Then we shall go to Amuru and then finish with Noya.
Okay, that is that. We are going to get to know, unfortunately It's only one camera that is active, as in I wanted to show you the police patrols that have engaged themselves in an accident. The police patrols, and one officer was hurt, but unfortunately I couldn't manage. Yeah, in case of any video that I can get, I'm going to keep searching around. I'll be letting you know. But that is it. The president is heading to Amuru, that is in Acholi Subregion. I gave you statistics of Acholi yesterday. Amuru, especially the number of polling stations. Of course, I'll of course remind you. Yeah, I'll remind you.
Hello. I know.
Okay, let's go back to the audio from the president I was playing for you. It did not finish. Let me rewind it a bit and then we continue.
Give way for the nation to begin a new chapter. And if you do that, the nation will be grateful for your contribution. Mr. President, Bob Marley said, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You cannot lie to a whole nation and think each time you will get away with it. As a good reader of history, you should remember that history repeats itself with leaders who thought they were wiser than their generations. Those who thought that populations were gullible and easily manipulated. Usually there comes a time when people are tired. Ugandans are tired. They have been patient with you. They have been respectful and generous with you, knowing that in 2021 a new dispensation will come. Please do not abuse our trust and patience. Our children want to emulate a leader who does not lie to the country on national TV. Come out and repeat what you said on NTV's Patrick Kamara program when he asked you if you would go beyond 75 years. Not at all. Certainly not. That's what you said, Mr. President. And as the first citizen of Uganda, you should come out and inspire the nation to always be truthful to their word. Because as they say, a man is as good as his word. We cannot continue to have a president whose word we can no longer trust. Enough is enough. Now to you, my fellow Ugandans, especially the younger generation, I know you know the things I'm talking about because most of the problems I have mentioned affect you every day. Poverty, unemployment, uncertainty, exclusion, violence at the hands of the state, and many others. We only have this one chance. No matter your tribe, no matter your religion, no matter your political affiliation or creed, poverty and these terrible conditions in our country do not discriminate. Article number 1 of our constitution says all power belongs to the people. We are the people. I want to call upon all leaders, from religious leaders, cultural leaders, leaders of the business community, members of civil society, leaders of educational institutions, journalists, bloggers, fellow artists, and all of you fellow Ugandans. Please don't keep quiet on this very sensitive matter on the future of our country, Uganda. As it has been said before, and now seems real in our times, that the world is suffering not because of the words of the evil people, but because of the silence of the good people. Speak up, or else your children in future will ask you what you did when the nation came to this point. Begin today and exercise your God-given right. Call your member of parliament, or better still, pay them a visit and demand for accountability. Stand up and speak up. Rise up before it's too late, my brothers and sisters. And if you believe the words I'm saying are true, please translate this into your own language and into all the languages you know. Social media is available. Let us make use of this modern technology to emancipate ourselves because the time is now. Make use of it now. Spread this word. Make sure everybody gets to know about this. Make sure everybody gets involved, because we are the country, we are the future, and the future is today. Thank you very much for God and my country. Hello Ugandans, our country's former glory is all gone. Corruption rates are alarming, service deliveries at its worst, and women are dying while giving birth. Unexplained murders everywhere, and the judiciary is a mockery. Our children face an uncertain future, where unemployment is the order of the day. The national debt has turned us into slaves, and the gun has become the master. The one-time pearl of Africa is now a laughing stock among nations. All our public assets have been sold, and as if it's not enough to satisfy their appetite, after selling almost all public properties, the government now wants to take people's private land. You have put your names on the national wall of shame. Remember that there will be a time when you must account for this nonsense. You should think about how you want to be remembered, whether as men and women who loved their country, or as people who thought only about themselves. You should also remember that you swore an oath to bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda and uphold its constitution. You did exactly the opposite of what you sought to do. And before I forget, I want to thank those few patriotic NRM MPs. You are heroes, and please maintain your stand. Do not bow down to pressure. And to President Museveni, in 1986, you asked for 4 years to reorganize the country and hand over power to a civilian government. We agreed. You personally said that Africa's problem was not the people, but the leaders who overstay in power. In 1990, you asked for 5 more years to be able to enact a durable constitution for the nation, and then go. We agreed. In 1995, you asked for a new mandate under the constitution. You asked for 5 more years. We agreed. In 2001, you requested the nation to renew your mandate for the last constitutional term. We agreed. In 2005, you moved to remove presidential term limits. You told us that you wanted only 5 years to be able to consolidate your achievements. We agreed. And then in 2011, you came back. You campaigned under the Prosperity for All slogan. You promised that poverty would be history in Uganda after that term, and that you would return to Rwachitura and look after your cows. These were your words. 2016 came, and again you came back, asking for the very, very last term. Yes, in a televised address, you told the nation, and you swore that you would certainly not lead beyond 75 years of age. You told us that after 75, a leader would no longer have the vigor required to run a country.
That one, I think that one we had ignored. We had not discussed it. It can be discussed, but since we had not, but I think after 75, the vigor, I think there's some scientific idea there that maybe the vigor is not as much after 75 years. So that one I wouldn't quarrel with some. I know there are some leaders who have been leading even beyond 75, but I think if you want very active leaders, it should good to have the ones below 75.
So are you saying you wouldn't go beyond 75 yourself, sir?
Not at all.
So are you saying you wouldn't go beyond 75 yourself, sir?
Not at all.
You promised that your last term would be a term pledging to fight and end corruption. Well, Mr. President, you have failed us on all these promises, and our hope was that you would end your term in 2021 and give way for the nation to begin a new chapter. And if you do that, the nation will be grateful for your contribution. Mr. President, Bob Marley said, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You cannot lie to a whole nation and think each time you will get away with it. As a good reader of history, you should remember that history repeats itself with leaders who thought they were wiser than their generations. Those who thought that populations were gullible and easily manipulated. Usually there comes a time when people are tired. Ugandans are tired. They have been patient with you. They have been respectful and generous with you, knowing that in 2021 a new dispensation will come. Please do not abuse our trust and patience. Our children want to emulate a leader who does not lie to the country on national TV. Come out and repeat what you said on NTV's Patrick Kamara program when he asked you if you would go beyond 75 years. Not at all. Certainly not. That's what you said, Mr. President. And as the first citizen of Uganda, you should come out and inspire the nation to always be truthful to their word. Because as they say, a man is as good as his word. We cannot continue to have a president whose word we can no longer trust. Enough is enough. Now to you, my fellow Ugandans, especially the younger generation, I know you know the things I'm talking about because most of the problems I have mentioned affect you every day. Poverty, unemployment, uncertainty, exclusion, violence at the hands of the state, and many others. We only have this one chance. No matter your tribe, no matter your religion, no matter your political affiliation or creed, poverty and these terrible conditions in our country do not discriminate. Article number 1 of our constitution says all power belongs to the people. We are the people. I want to call upon all leaders, from religious leaders, cultural leaders, leaders of the business community, members of civil society, leaders of educational institutions, journalists, bloggers, fellow artists, and all of you fellow Ugandans. Please don't keep quiet on this very sensitive matter on the future of our country, Uganda. As it has been said before, and now seems real in our times, that the world is suffering not because of the words of the evil people, but because of the silence of the good people. Speak up, or else your children in future will ask you what you did when the nation came to this point. Begin today and exercise your God-given right. Call your member of parliament, or better still, pay them a visit and demand for accountability. Stand up and speak up. Rise up before it's too late, my brothers and sisters. And if you believe the words I'm saying are true, please translate this into your own language and into all the languages you know. Social media is available. Let us make use of this modern technology to emancipate ourselves, because the time is now. Make use of it now. Spread this word. Make sure everybody gets to know about this. Make sure everybody gets involved, because we are the country, we are the future, and the future is today. Thank you very much for God and my country. Hello Ugandans, our country's former glories all.
Yes, those were the words from the president of the National Platform. For those who have been following him very well, that's way back in 2017 actually. Yeah, that was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2017. 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018, not 17, 2018. Yeah, that's when he made that audio. He made that audio during the times of age limit removal. Yeah, but of course what I did, I cut out those words that would make this message to be having an expiry date. So at least now it is open, and of course you can't even get to know whether he said it yesterday or the other day if you have never heard of it. So that is a powerful message from the president to you bloggers, to you journalists, to you doctors, to you teachers, to you civil servants, you know, because I'm very sure amongst those people who are watching now, you are over 887. Yeah, you are teachers, you are doctors, you are nurses, you are doctors, as in you are all kind of professionals if we can all come out and speak out, we can create the change that we badly need, I can tell you. So I always want to listen to the president's words. I don't know, allow me play this message in Uganda.
Sebo kalabalaba omukolo olw'ekitiibwa kyompadde n'omukisa guno okwogerako eri bakungubazi bannaffe newankubadde ng'obudde bwatuliridde dda empinga. Maama mukadde Gertrude Njuba, ab'ennyumba eno bonna baganda bange ne bannyinaze, mukadde waffe Professor Gilbert Bukenya, ow'ekitiibwa ennyo Deputy Katikiro, mukadde waffe ate inspiration waffe Dr. Kiza Besigye, ba generals General Tumukunde, General Eri Tumwine, Brigadier Musajja Waza, abakulembeze bonna okuva mu gavumenti ya wakati ne mu gavumenti ya Ssaabasajja Kabaka, abakulembeze baffe mu ddiini, basebo ne bannyabo, kitalo nnyo, kitalo ddala. Yeze Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, abamu bamanyi nga Bobiwine era nga nze mubaka akiikirira ekitundu kino mu Parliament. Naye olwaleero nange njagala okutwala omukisa guno okwogera nga mukwano gwa Stella. Stella nze saafuna mukisa mumanyira bbanga ddene. In fact, to make it worse, saafunirako naddala mukisa gwengeginga na mukadde waffe omugenzi Sam Kalega Njuba. Lwe nasooka okulaba Stella namulaba mu 2016 nga beesimbyewo kuba MP. Yantuukirira n'angamba, Bobby, manyi nti olina abantu abakuliza bangi naye njagala ompagire. Ne mugamba nedda, sijja kuwagira kuba nze nali mpagira kantinti owa FDC by that time. Katonda engeri gy'akolamu ebintu tewaayita na myaka 2 neeziramu ne neesimbawo mu kifo kyekimu. Nga bwe mumanyi nga weesimbyewo onoonya abantu abali influential bakuwagire. Zandeeta direct paka maaso ga Stella. Ne mugamba, Stella, mbadde nsaba ompagire. Yaddamu bw'ati, yangamba sigenda just kuwagira, njagala kuyigiriza. Kubanga yali experienced nnyo, ngali knowledgeable nnyo, akolaganye n'abantu abali mu bifo bitwagala okubeeramu, amanyi ne kyetaagisa okola. Era yangamba, nnyina buli kimu kye sirina bwe buwagizi gwe bw'oyina. Era ndowooza singa mba nkuyambye nenkubangula mu ngeri gye nsobola okubangula, bw'oba onzikiriza nkakasa ojja kukola ekyenjawulo. Stella yali gateway yange okujja mu maka gano, era nga mpita mu Stella nafuna omukisa nensinkana maama mukyala Gertrude Njuba. Byatuyigiriza ne byazze atuyigiriza bingi nnyo, ebyo bya lunaku lulala. Naye okusingira ddala, Stella okuba nti yali ava mu ndowooza ya njawulo, yali mukyala wa NRM, naye n'atu appreciatinga olw'ebirowoozo bye twali tuzze nabyo, n'atufunamu n'ekifaananyi nti obaoli awo asobola otukyanoyinga by'amanyi ne bimuyamba nga biyitamu ffe newankubadde twali ndowooza ya njawulo. Ekyo kyali very challenging. Oyo ye Stella gwe tufiiriddwa mu Kyadondo East, basebo ne bannyabo. Era mu kiseera kye kimu njagala okuddingana ebigambo bya maama byatusibiridde mu kuziika kuno, tutuleme kweyuzaayuza ne bwe tubeera bandooza za njawulo. Ekyo nno kikulu, yebadde example y'obulamu bwa Stella, kyanaku nti tuli mu muziika, naye nga bw'eri mpisa yaffe nti ennaku zino tusinkana just mu biseera bya nnaku byokka. Tosobola kutusanga nga waliwo embaga ng'aba NRM n'aba FDC n'aba People Power n'aba UPC bakwataganye, nti twasigala Katonda watukwasiza oba logic wetukwasiza oba reasoning wetukwasiza bye biseera eby'ennaku nga bino. Nsaba obubaka bwa maama tubutwale, tubulire ne bannaffe abalala, bagenerals bamanye nti tuli mu kulwanagana nabo. Maama akontrolinga State House amanye nti tetuli mu kulwana, tetuli mu lutalo, ffenna tuli bana Uganda. Era nkozesa n'omukisa guno obaoli awo musaba tusobaka eri president waffe ti munnange tetuli mu mpalana naye, tetwamukyawa president tulina buzibu naye, okay twagala eyo entebe gyatuddemu, naye si mu bubi. So mukadde waffe Bishop Senabuli abo badde ayogera obwongo bwange bugenze ne buddu. Bishop abadde ayogera obwongo bwange budduse ne buddayo emabega emyaka 30. Olunaku lwali lumu nga ndi mu Pitu mu mwaka gwa 89 nga nsomera ku ssomero lyaffe mu kyalo Egomba baliyita Kasaka Primary School. Twali baana bato abasiraamu abakatuliki abaprotestante nga tutambula tuddayo ewaka ewaffe Kanoni nga tujja tukayana abasiraamu bakayana abakatuliki bakayana abaprotestante bakayana nti ddiini kyenkulu. Twalina Bishop waffe yali akyali muto nga tannakaddiwa bw'ati baali bamuyita Bishop Senabulya. Simanyi oba akyajjukira yagambye emyaka agimanyi okumwerabiza naye twamusalako nga tuli obwana bungi nga tukayanidde ebbanga ddentuka Bishop tukutuuseeko. Simanyi oba Bishop ojjukira tumugamba wama Bishop ddiini kyenkulu mu Uganda netusireka tulindirire. Bishop nzijukira tutunuulira oba yali alowooza ki mulina agamba obwana bo nebirowoozo bibijjewabo ne tulinda yalwawo tuddamu naye bwe yatuddamu yatugamba eddiini enkulu ye Katonda. Tena twali disappointed nyonyo. Simanyi oba Bishop ojjukira naye tugamba eddiini enkulu ye Katonda. Abasiraamu bo baasanyuka kuba bali abadde tebasuubira kingi naye abakatuliki tugayiitoga Bishop tamanyi nti population wise abakatuliki tuli bangi nedda ntubeera disappointed. Abaprotestant muli mikwano gyaffe nga Bishop amaze ogenda bagamba naye Bishop yadde tasobola kuwagira abaprotestant. Kati Mukama akola ebintu nti embeera yemu ezze olwaleero nga twerekera Stella nendowooza nti oluvannyuma lw'emyaka 3 singa mba ntambula nga nzirayo nga MP w'ekitundu nensanga obwana buto obuli mu myaka 8 7 ne bunneetoolwa ne bugamba kati tubuulire wamma ku FDC ne NRM ne People Power ne kikyonna kyonna ndowooza ki enkulu mu Uganda oba mulamu waki omukulu mu Uganda. Okubulira amazima ku byenjize wano wadde ndi wa People Power abaana abo mbagamba nti omulamu omukulu ye Uganda. Kuba endowooza eyo bassebo ne bannyabo endowooza eyo esobola okujjawo okulwana kuba tetulina kutomeragana nga maama bw'agambye. Wabulewo okutomeragana wakati wa sayidi eno ne sayidi eno. Waleme kubaawo okutomeragana wakati w'abakulu n'abato. Waleme kubaawo okutomeragana wakati w'abatono n'abangi. As a matter of fact waleme kubaawo okutomeragana wakati w'abo abaliko n'abo abagenda okuddako. Ngamaliriza maama munnange ffenna tuli wano tukungubaga naye gwe nga maama ng'omuzadde nkakasa nti olina obulumi obw'enjawulo bw'olina wano mu Buganda. Tulina engeri gye twaconceptualizinga ennaku era tulina engeri gye tuhandolinga ebiseera eby'ennaku nti omukyala bw'aba afiiridde omwami twamutuma n'erinnya nti tumuyita namwandu, bw'aba mwami tumuyita semwandu, bw'aba mwana ng'afiiridde omuzadde tumuyita mulekwa. Naye kubanga wabulawo n'erinnya gye tutuma omuzadde afiiridde omwana kiraga nti ennaku obuli awo yali teteeberezebwanga yennaku gitwali tetusuubira. Mama tuyimiridde naawe tukusaasira naye okusinziira ku byafaayo maama tukumanyi nti oli mukyala mugumu era tujja kusigala nga tugumira ku ggwe naye nga tusaba Omukama akugumye agumye ne baganda baffe bonna. Omukama abeere nammwe mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala.
Yes, those are some of the powerful messages that you should always feed your mind. You understand? I'm going to give you very many today. Yes, I'm going to give you a very many today because they are, of course, powerful messages. It's sort of cool. I think let me play for you this as well. Let me play for you this as well.
Elomisho nisia mutie na sia DPC ya FDC ya NRM ya banayuganda kuba bonna banyigirizibwa kyekinu. Tewali kirina kyonna kyonna kigenda kugamba nti kyonga kyemaliride nga tekyegase na balala. ndikyekigenda okutuusa Uganda ku nkyukakyuka. Obadde entambula eggwangu kulyetola era nga ndaba nti abavubuka abali wano emukono, abali ekasese, abali embaale, abali eggulu, bonna mwatu bafaanagana. Bonna ebizibu balina byebimu, bonna ebyetaago balina byebimu. Oba ogenze ku stage ya boda, oba ogenze mu ghetto, oba ogenze wa. Naddala mu kiseera ekitali kya kulonda. Nga bino ebizibu aba bifiiringa tebisosola ntono wa DP ono wa FDC ono wa NRM. Bonna emisolo gikubakuba kyekimu, bonna batirimbulwa kyekimu. Uganda sirero simesoso okubeera mu mbeera bweti nga tetunafuna independence mirembe gy'enkaaga. Abannayuganda baali bangi nnyo nga tebakkiriza abazungu bafuga, naye era nga abazungu babafuga. Era kyatwala abonna ab'ebibiina byonna ne bassa kimu, bonna ne bagobaganya omuzungu. Ne wajjawo obukulembeze obwaddawo obwali bwa kibiina kya UPC. Basooka kuba balungi ng'omukulembeze yenna bw'asooka okwogera nga ayagala obuwagizi nga naffe bwe tuli mu kwogera. Ne bamaanyi batandika okunyigiriza bannayuganda. Era ebibiina byonna byagezaako paka Museveni bwe oba yabapoloota atya oba atya ne mwegatta mwenna ne mwagira Museveni. Taata wange yali example. Taata wange musajja wa DP, nze nazaalibwa mu DP, ne jjajja wange walakira wa Democratic Party. Naye kubanga baalaba nti baalina okwegatta bonna era beegatta ne bagoba okote. Newankubadde omuntu gwe beegatta naye yabali Amuru. Ebigambo President Museveni bye yawandiika mu 10-point program, ebigambo nga batandika DP bye bawandiika, ebigambo nga batandika FDC oba JEMA oba UPC bye bawandiika, bw'osoma tebirina njawulo. Bonna baba basuubiza bantu buyinza. Naye waliwo ekintu kimu kye tutanakola baganda bange, kubanga byonna tubigezezaako, naye tuli mu mbeera ey'enjawulo etabangawo etya. Ensonga ezaaliwo nga tufuna independence zaali ndala, ezaaliwo nga Museveni awangobote ezaali ndala, ezaaliwo nga Minya Jacobote ezaali ndala, naye kati ensonga eriwo olunaku lwaleero. Muze mukyogerako nga mutuyigiriza nga tukyali bato nti waliwo abantu bamirundi ebiri, abanyigiriza n'abanyigirizibwa. Abanyigiriza ekyennaku bo babadde wamu, naye omukisa gwe tulina nti n'abanyigiriza nabo beetemyemu. N'ekyo ky'omukisa omubi ennyo nti abanyigirizibwa ffe tusinze okwetemamu. Tutya twetemyemu n'amadiini, twetemyemu n'amawanga, naye okusingira ddala twetemyemu n'ebibiina. Tunda wano nga waliwo ekibiina kirala, ne wano waliwo ekibiina kirala, ne wano waliwo ekibiina kirala, nga ffenna tugamba tulwanira bannayuganda naye nga tuwalaŋŋana okusinga bwe tuwalana aba NRM. So bwe tuba tetutunuulidde ebintu ebyo basebo ne bannyabo, n'omwaka ogujja n'emyaka 10 n'emyaka 2 tujja kukomawo wano nga tusuubiza abantu kyekimu, ababadde abato nga bongera kula, ababadde abakulu nga tufa. Bwe kityo bwe kigenda okubeera kyekiri kye mbagambye nti bwe tuba twagala okufuna ekintu kye tutafunangako, tulina okukola ekintu kye tutakolangako. Tukigezezzaako basebo ne bannyabo, byenjogera byali bikoleddwako. Ne gye buvuddeko tukigezezzaako. Ebiseera ebimu nga si ffe twagadde, bannayuganda ne tusindika okwegatta, baali bakyusa constitution yaffe nga ffenna tukkanya nti kikyamu. Tetumanyi bwe twegatta, tetumanyi bwe kyajja, twesanga ffenna tukwataganye. Newankubadde era wakati mu kwegatta waliwo okufuba okukyonoona nti abantu bagamba kogikuteko, bano bagamba togikwatako, naye nga tutegeeza ekintu kyekimu. So okuleka nga twetunuulidde mu mitima ne tumanya nti okay, waliwo abanyigiriza n'abanyigirizibwa, tukiikirira baani era tukolera baani? Tukolera abanyigiriza oba tukolera abanyigirizibwa? Kati bw'obanga okimanyi nti okolera abanyigirizibwa ate nga be basinga obungi, ate ng'okimanyi nti okwegatta n'emaanyi, ng'okimanyi nti bwe beegatta tuba tukwatagana, naye nga ne muffe kennyini tupreachinga okwawukana, tukolera ani? Ekyo ekibuuzo buli omu addeyo akyebuuze. Tuli wano tuva mu bibiina bya njawulo basebo ne bannyabo, naye nze mu ndaba yange newankubadde mu 95 twagamba nti no tugenda kufugibwa mu multi-party system, mukimanyi nti tewali bibiina, teri kibiina kikkirizibwa kukola kintu kyonna ng'etteeka bwe liragira. Ekitegeeza nti tufugibwa tteeka, naye ng'obuyinza buli mu bantu. netwagana okulaga abantu ekifaananyi ekyokwegatta kubanga fe abakulembeze bwe twegatta abantu begatta automatically bwe twegatta ejjinja abantu ne beegatta bwe twegatta elukunjiri abantu ne beegatta ne bwe twegatta ku constitution nga bajamenyinga abantu beegatta era okututematemamu munda newakubadde abantu balina communication yengeri lwaki twalemererwa tukimanyi nti abantu bwe beegatta kobeere dikitata wa kikola ki oba ogenda kudduka emisinde bakikola wano e Burkina Faso bakikola wano e Egypt bakikola naye kati Uganda ongamba otya tetusobola kikola lwaki kubanga tetwagala bwe tuba twagala tetwagala kimala tewabangawo kiseera Uganda ng'eringa bweri bassebo ne bannyabo etya bano abavubuka bano abali wano bebadde nga bakyusa embeera bangi nnyo bali ebitundu ebisukka 8 ku buli 100 era banyigirizibwa bonna kuba mwenna mumanyi nti nno ebitundu ebisukka 8 ku bavubuka tebalina mirimu naye abantu abo tuganya oba investingamu tuganya okubalaga obuyinza ti bwabo tugamba twagala kuza buyinza mu bantu naye buli kimu kitandika mu bwongo bwa muntu Makasigabe yagamba liberate the minds of men and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Abantu baffe tubayigirize tebeetaaga politician kujyawo bagamba nti gundi kola kino tubayigirize ekikyamu kyeki n'ekituufu kyeki era bamanye nti ekikyamu kiba kikyamu kobere nga wa NRM gwekikoze oba wa FDC oba wa DP n'ekituufu kiba kituufu mu mbeera y'emu. Constitution yatwegamba nti obuyinza bw'abantu tukibayigirize tubufule nti gwe mulamwa gwaffe abantu bamanye nti obuyinza buli mu mikono gyabwe. Kinumanya wembera mbabubuka eyo n'enjogera bino ebintu bye baga ana Bobiwine alo Bobiwine tukibaddemu abantu abo bamanye nti nabo balina obuyinza bwe bumu naffe. Omwana amanye nti alina obuyinza bwe bumu alina rights ezimu nga citizen nga Honorable Wakalima nga Nyanzi nga Mukaaku. Ekyo bwe tunakikola tugenda kuwagala generation eno olabe nga Bakyagulanyi bafubutuka ejjinja bafubutuka embale bafubutuka eggulu nga bafubutuka mu DP nga bafubutuka mu FDC nga bafubutuka mu NRM. Tumanye nti nno ffe nga Bannayuganda tetusimba mu kisinde nti kya bbulu ndi kya gurini ndi kya yero naddala ku mbeera eno tumanye nti tusimba mu kisinde kya black yellow and red nga mulimu ne kaŋŋaali makati eyo ye Uganda bajjajjaffe gye baateekawo ku independence ye Uganda tetulina okugoberera kati era bwe tunagoberera ekintu ekyo buli omu ajja kuba n'ensonga ng'alwana nga yekkiririzaamu nga ye kirwanira kyange kirwanira kya DP kirwanira kya FDC kirwanira kya NRM.
Can you imagine 30,000 Kenyan shillings is 1 million Uganda shillings? That means with 30,000 Kenyan shillings you can pay a police officer in a new Uganda.
No! Bogamandi muna Uganda n'okwalendi wa DP naye kinyiga kinyigano wa NRM. Ate tubyogere ate tubikole. Mubere basebe ne banyabo nze ndowooza tugenda okutunira enkyukakyuka ey'Namadala.
District and another sub-region which is Acholi sub-region, which are being Amuru and Noya. The DPC of Adjumani is going to hand us over to another DPC because we have entered another district. What is this district? Oh. Okay. The DPC of Adjumani is going to hand over to his colleague.
Mubere basema ne banyabo zendowooza tugenda okufunira enkyukakyuka eyannamaddala. Uganda ebadde n'obuzibu okumala ebbanga ddene nga tulina kye bayita liberator syndrome, ogungi atunuludde. President Museveni yabakuŋŋanya mwena naye position nga zenunula Uganda, kumbe azimba dikiteta agenda okutuuka agambe nze nabalwanira, nze nabakolera kino, nze nabakolera kino. Era bwe tuba nga tugezaako okumulwanyisa, ffe tulina njawulo ki? Tetuli mu kuzimba badikiteta balala. Agenda okujja Nyanzi ojja otandika ogamba ze bankuba nnyo emigo ze bansiba nze nkola ki nange kabakalakito emyaka 3. Kati kye tutimamba ne bakyali banne ababeera bangirisa ye Bobiwine tumanyire sina gwe nwanyirira nwanyirira nze nawe wewanirire ekyenjawulo kiri tekulaga otandikira. Bwe tunakikola bwe tubaseba ne bannyabo tujja ffenna struggle okugioninga nga ne babamugyawo Kyagulanyi ne bamutta ne bajjawo Mao ne bamutta gwe omanyi nti gwe Uganda ne Uganda ye gwe. Eno mission si ya muntu yenna, si ya DP, si ya FDC, si ya NRM, y'abana Uganda kuba bonna banyigirizibwa kyekimu. Nze njogera n'abaana ba NRM banyigirizibwa. In fact bali bubi n'okusinga ba opposition kuba ba opposition abamu bali ku business. Otegera so banyigirizibwa naye nabo tebatutubawadde we are not attractive enough. Nkiridamu tetusikiriza kimala ngaba opposition. Oli bwatulaba ng'abaagala Jesu basalasala bajjawo. Omulaba atulaba nga naffe abaagala okujja wali abagamba it's our time to eat. Naye nga gye tukologera bwe tutyo eri abantu babakalakata, eri babonaabona, eri bappa. Abantu bongera kutokomoka nabadde ekirudde eggulo naye mwana. Naye emmere yeeyo bwekyo bweri. So nsaba tukitwale ng'akagendere tuyigirize abantu nti be bannannyini buyinza. Tuyigirize abantu nti obuyinza olwedde babulina. Obuyinza olwedde bakola ki? Babulina naye tebannayiga bukozesa. Kanfundikire. Nze ndowooza bwenti basebo ne bannyabo singa tuyigirize abantu bano nti obuyinza be babulina ate nga tukimanyi nti be basinga obungi. Naddala abo abavubuka. Naye ne tubaterera ebipenda engeri gye bakozesa obuyinza obwo. Okumala ebbanga ddene baali batumisibidinga. Tosobola kuŋŋamba nti oba tulina constitution naye nga pulezidenti waffe obuwa ye akozesa amateeka ago gennyini naweta wano n'akusiba ate namekinga sure takujjako waya n'okasuka amayinja. Kuba obuyinza twakkaanya pulezidenti yagenda okutuwa naye abantu be basobola okukwata ne babukuwa ate bwe baba babufunye kitegeeza naye basobola okukujjako. Kitegeeza nti enkyukakyuka eyo bw'erijjanga ekolebbwa abantu. Tewali mukulembeze agenda kubafuga mu ngeri gye batayagala. Naye tunagamba nti kati ffe ttiimu eno ekwate obukulembeze naye takwagala kwesasuza. Bwekuba kuza bukulembeze mu bantu tubuzeeyo. Tewali kibiina kyonna kigenda kugamba nti kyo nga kyemaliridde nga tekyegase na balala nti kye kigenda okutuusa Uganda ku nkyukakyuka. Tewali politician oba mukulembeze agenda kugamba nti ye nga ye omuntu omu yagenda okutuusa Uganda ku nkyukakyuka. Nga bwe twegasse wano tukiyita union tukikole ate tukigoberere. Tumanyi nti buli omu alina empisa ze ezitali nnungi naye tumanyi nti ekitugatta kinene okusinga ekitwawula. Ffenna twagala Uganda nnungi si bwe kiri. Ffenna twagala nkyukakyuka si bwe kiri. Kati tutandike bwe tutyo tukunga abavubuka baffe buli omu abeera agenda agambe munne oba oli wa kibiina ki kasita okkiririza mu nkyukakyuka. Njagala nnyo okulaba nga bwe twali Makerere nga twongera kulaba abantu bajjeema bangi abajja wano, aba FDC bangi abajja wano, aba NRM bangi abajja wano. Ate nga naffe tuva wano ne tugenda ku mikolo gya FDC, ne tugenda ku mikolo gya NRM, ne tugenda ku mikolo gya Jeema. Kuba abo bannayuganda ku mitima gyabwe tekuliko langi. Kuliko bizibu byabwe era bw'omunnyonnyola ensonga kobere wa kibiina ki ajja kutegeera ensonga. Naye bano abavubuka naddala b'ensinga obukulu beera njagalako beebuuse bo beetegeerere beebeereremu. Ekyo bwe tukikola bwetyo basebo ne bannyabo tugenda kuwangula obukulembeze bw'eggwanga lino ate tugenda komaawo tugenda kuzimba eggwanga eritagenda kuddamu kubeera kyekimu nate.
Okay, that was the speech from the president of the National Unity Platform, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. Actually, before he even thought of, you know, standing for the president of Uganda, this is way back in 2018. Yeah, way back in 2018. So you can see he has come from far, you know, sending to us this message. Only that some people did not get the message at first, but I'm sure very many are getting it now. Sorry. So what I'm going to do, before I even do that, I have to remind you that all these speeches are there on this YouTube channel, even on our Facebook page, JB Muwonge 2, then this channel JB Muwonge. You are going to find all these speeches there. I told you all those platforms that in the names of JB Muwonge, you are not going to find their comedy, you're not going to find their stories of Simanyi mwana yakoze bichi or Simanyi bichi and all that kind of thing. All you are going to find there is the revolutionary message. Whatever you would love to hear and see, all you're looking for, you will find it here on this channel. I never miss out anything, at least that one. Anything important like this, I'll never miss out. Just know that it is there on this channel. Get time, scroll through the posts, the videos, download, spread the message. Yeah, so let me play for you this English version when Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert was answering those complex, tricky, social, economic, and the political questions. Yeah, a very apt point, you know.
I see the mess, but I'm not a selective seer. In my opinion, the mess is not only on the street, it's everywhere. The street is just a screen of what's happening in the country. Look deeper than that. So yes, there's a mess there, but I would love to live with a principle of first things first. Let us sort out things that must be sorted out first. Yes, there's a mess, but that's only outlook. There's look at the mess in the health sector.
First things first.
Yes.
First, I'm glad to see you. And what are those first things that you're talking about?
Well, everything looks to be in a mess, but when you're fixing, you fix the life-threatening ones.
Like
Healthcare system. The mess you see there is an indication of the deterioration in all institutions. He just told you they are not people to sort out that, to enforce that. And when they come out to enforce, it's a question of even them as enforcers looking for a quick buck to earn. So in my opinion, we should go back to the functioning of our institutions and know that there's an institution responsible for that.
Well, this is just a bit on your outlook on politics, matters political. Could you share with us your experience? How has it been for you?
Well, it has been a bittersweet experience, I would say. If you told me to, relay for you my 10 months, we are going to consume this whole hour, doing that, if we have it anyway. So yeah, it has been a bittersweet experience. New revelations, yes, some I expected them, then some I didn't. But I realized that most importantly that we have jokers and we have real leaders. We have people that have their country at heart. From across the divide, I've realized that we have very good people in the DP, of course, in the movement, in the FDC, and even in the NRM. So I've discovered different things independently, but most importantly, that even amidst the political stagnation that we are facing, we have people that love their country, and those people are from across the divide.
Well, you were quite pivotal in the in the age limit debate,
yeah.
And you got to the extent of going physical. Do you think, or do you feel the dust has settled since?
This dust will never settle. We didn't get physical. They got physical on us. But like I said, that was just an indication of what's happening there. It only happened, the brutality only happened on the floor of Parliament. It only reflected what's been happening there. And of course, it reflected the total decay, if not death, of our institutions and the independence of the legislature. To me, it was the last nail on the democratic coffin. However, just like a seed, it has to die before it flourishes again. So yeah, that happened, but I'm still hopeful, very hopeful.
What, in your opinion, has happened since you lost the battle?
I wouldn't classify it as a lost battle, because we knew what the regime was capable of doing. We've been seeing it before. We knew that there were two sides. There was this dictatorship, and then there was this beautiful gentleman suit that was covering the dictatorship. The most important thing that we always wanted to do is to demystify that, is to unmask it, and that is what we successfully did. Today, no Ugandan is ignorant of the dictatorship that we are faced with, and that was not the case before the age limit situation.
How would you gauge the mood around the country? You've traveled, we've seen you in Jinja, we've seen you in Masaka, we've seen you places. What's the mood like in the country?
In the beginning, the mood was a resigning mood because people were frustrated. Then we had an indifferent mood because people seemed not to know what's happening. Remember, for the first time we had come together, and then people's hopes had been deflated. But I would say that following the unmasking of the situation and people really knowing what they're faced with, it is hopeful because now people are getting up. They're taking it in their own hands. What happened in Jinja, you saw it. What is happening in Rukonjiri, you saw it. It was not only for the population, but even for the leaders. It further showed us that without unity, we are not anything. And it taught us that with unity, once the forces, the democracy-seeking forces come together, dictators shake and tremble.
You've, over the past 10 months, proved to be a political force to reckon with. And there's actually been that discussion around a third force emerging. Do you think you're the face of a third force? That mysterious third face?
We are not the third force. We are the force. I repeat, we are not the third force. We are the force. And I would like to put this clear. It's not about me. You say I have been a pivotal in this, yes. But I'm only rallying point, you see. Every time people have something to say, they will say it through somebody, even if it's not me. So I'm only a reflection of what people have always wanted to say, of what people have always been wanting to say.
Is a third force desirable today?
There's no third force. There is the force. There is the force. You realize we're in a situation where very few people are holding the country hostage. Some of the fellow slaves didn't know they were actually slaves. They are beginning to know, and some are still deep in their slumber. So once people get enlightened, get the realization of where we are.
I'm a little perplexed by your choice of words, slaves. What do you mean by slaves? Who is a slave in a democratic state?
Well, like you say, you disturbed my choice of words. I'm equally disturbed by your choice of words, especially the word democratic. In a situation where we are, if you call this a democracy, then you perplex me even the more.
What makes this short of a democracy?
The freedoms. The freedoms, what you call a democracy, when people are not allowed to freely engage, to freely communicate, when the basic rights are denied, people cannot converge. They are denied their right of assembly. They are denied their right of expression. Everything that is anti-regime is deemed inciting violence. So you don't call that a democracy. No, you do not. Let's call things what they are. We are living in a dictatorship, Simon. You know as much as I do.
What does it take to be a rallying point in politics?
Standing for the truth. Standing for the real plight of the people out there, you know. Anybody can be a rallying point. We've seen people, you know, coming from nowhere and people following them.
Is your cause sustainable given the kind of reaction that you're getting from the state?
It is not my cause, Simon. It is our cause. It does not start with me. I'm not the first Ugandan to talk about equal rights and justice. I'm not the first Ugandan to agitate for real democracy, for real freedom. I'm not the first. You've seen all our democratic ancestors, some dead, some living. We take this from the great Paulo Kawanga Semogerere to down to people like Kizza Besigye, people like Norbert Mao, people like Museveni, although he changed his position, people like Elia Kategaya. It's not about me. These things I say are the things that our president used to say before he got into office, before he got drunk on power. So it is not my cause, it is a Ugandan cause. And yes, it is sustainable, because for as long as people are oppressed, they will automatically want their freedom. And they will find themselves either cautiously or subconsciously agitating for that freedom. So it's not my cause, it is your cause too.
In your analysis, how does the country look like today? What's the Uganda you're seeing now?
For lack of better words, I would say Uganda is steadily sinking into status of a failed state.
Could you illustrate on this?
Yes, yes, a country that cannot feed itself, a country that cannot sustain itself, a country where a leader gets a small misunderstanding with the doctors and says, I'm bringing in Cubans, as if to suggest that if I get a disagreement with the teachers, I'll import Cuban teachers. Ultimately, we shall import Cuban policemen and Cuban soldiers and Cuban, everything.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, what do you make of such a situation? A situation where you have been training doctors for 32 years, and then you say, these doctors are misbehaving, I am going to import Cuban doctors. In fact, I'll go to the bush. To do what? To shoot them? So, it disturbs. I don't know if it's me, but if my head feeds me well, then it's reason to worry. Simon?
Is it too late to salve the situation?
No.
And what do you make of the stakeholders in what you would call a salvation project for the country?
It's not too late. It's not late at all. Uganda is full of very talented people, people that are ready and able to change our plight. They only need to be given opportunity. Every now and then I engage people, intelligent people like yourself, in a conversation, and solutions are everywhere. People just need space to put those solutions in place. You realize that the political space has been closed to one person. It was one tribe, one family, and ultimately one person. Our problem has always been, and is still, a governance issue. There's nothing wrong with Uganda, nothing wrong with our people, nothing wrong with our natural resources. If you realize, if you go to, some of us who manage to travel, you'll go to countries like Kenya, like Botswana, like, South Africa, and you find Ugandan doctors, Ugandan trained doctors working there, simply because the conditions there can allow them enjoy a dignified life.
If Uganda is sinking, so are the politicians. What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, there's the principle of collective responsibility.
Politicians have run out of steam, especially with the opposition. Do you think it is still worthwhile to push on with such a team that is tired?
Now you see, our solution is not up to politicians. No. It has been said before that politics is too serious an issue to be left to politicians. Unfortunately, here in Uganda, the description of the word politician is a liar, opportunist, a double-edged sword, two-faced man, and the like. It is going to take all of us Ugandans in their different positionings, different shades, and different, responsibilities. It will take journalists and presenters like you to stand for the real morality that we represent. We need to first and foremost repair the whole moral fabric of the country, to believe in what we say and to stand for what benefits us as a country, not just the politician. A doctor will have to not only treat patients, but teach about values. teach about our patriotism. A teacher will have to do the same. A singer will have to do the same. A journalist like you will have to do the same. All of us, not just the politicians. If we leave it to the politicians, they will continue driving the best cars, they will continue growing fat bellies, and the people of Uganda will continue sinking in abject poverty.
What are the prospects of the opposition causing change soon?
Unity. Unity. There's nothing completely.
What are the chances that change could be in the offing?
Well, like I said, change is very possible if we come together. It has been done before. And when you go back to Ugandan history, you realize that it has always been unity that brought into place the change that has always been desired. When we were getting our independence, Ugandans came together. The UNC, was it UPM or some other party, and they formed UPC, and then they got independence. When we were faced with following dictatorships, the Idi Amin, Milton Obote, still Ugandans came together under Museveni and fought off the dictatorship. And yes, this dictatorship came back in a different shade with different ferocious energy. And yes, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take people from the opposition and yes, people from within the government to change this, to come up with a new mindset, to bury the old hatchets, to make sure we disassociate ourselves with the hatred that we did not start. I talk to people, even within the NRM, and these people all want change. But yes, many of them are scared what kind of change is going to come. Are they just going to be killed or be dragged into places of revenge, of activities of revenge? So once we come together as a country and agree which direction we want to take, we are going to make it. And yes, most importantly, with the opposition, we've had that problem.
Change is costly. Are you prepared for the ramifications that come with your push for change?
You keep pointing at me, but believe me, my brother, you are also pushing for change if you get up in the morning.
Do you want me to say we?
We, yeah. Because it's about us. We are tied in a similar garment, and you cannot, no single Ugandan can divorce him or herself from this struggle. It is all of us, whether you know or you don't know. We're trying to make Uganda.
No, but it pits two parties.
Yeah.
Is it you against President Museveni, or you against what?
It is not. I would really appreciate if we first put President Museveni on the side, because he will not understand us, and we probably might not understand him. He seems to be living in a different world. He's too rich, too powerful, and yes, too old. So let's put him on the side. And
that's personal.
No, it's not personal, it's reality. Did I lie in any of those? No, I did not lie. I repeat, he's too powerful, too rich, and too old. And maybe if I forget, he's too insulated from our realities. Let's not blame him. Let's put him on the side and then try to find a solution and say, okay, besides our president, who are we? We are a young nation. We are walking somewhere. We are stuck in this country. Long after President Museveni is gone, what do we want to do? Supposing if he falls dead tomorrow, are we just going to start stabbing each other?
If you can hold it there, what could be the game changer for Uganda's politics now that you've brought in crowd politics?
The game changer would be unity. Nothing else. Unity. There's ability to change stuff, but the demon of individualism had overshadowed the whole of the opposition. Everybody wanted to isolate themselves and indeed suffer in their own loneliness. But if we claim we are all for a better Uganda, for a new Uganda, we are for equal rights and justice, we are for democracy, then we should be able to exhibit that. We should be able to practice what we preach.
Are you putting your life on the line for politics, for the redemption of this country? And is it necessary?
What line? My life and everybody's life is already on the line. Simon, I might be a Bobiwine here that you praise, but if I got an accident or you got, then that's when I realize that my life has been on the line all along. Nobody is safe. Everybody's life is on the line. So there's nothing to lose apart from a worthless life, a futureless life. So
you envisaged a moment where the country would be without President Museveni. Give us a picture on the chaos or the beauty that would come.
It is two situations. For the country to be without President Museveni in a dignified manner, it would be the best occurrence for Uganda. A day when President Museveni honorably steps down from power.
A Wenger moment?
Yeah, a Wenger moment, you know, when Ugandans come together, because this change is certainly coming. What we don't know is whether it's going to be peaceful or chaotic. President Museveni still has a lot of, he has a big role to play in this. He can decide that Uganda will be peaceful, or he can decide that Uganda will be chaotic. So the two situations are here. If he steps down peacefully, I think it is going to be one of the biggest steps of healing our nation. Ugandans coming together, completely forgetting about violence and coming to the table of reasoning. However, there's also a situation
before you get to that other situation. Do you see this likely?
It is possible. It is not likely from the look of things. Like I said, our president seems to be disregarding everything else and capitalizing on staying in power, which is absurd. But I refuse to believe that he does not see where we are headed. I know he's a very intelligent man, and I know that it is possible for him to see where this nation is headed. I know it is possible for him to see that his legacy is in danger, and it is possible for him to save his legacy, and yes, to save our country from the looming chaos, because people are indifferent. This country has never been divided as it is before. Tribalism is at the peak, you know, impunity is at the peak, and all those, but it can be saved. So that is situation one. Situation two, which is also likely, is that he would be forced out of power, either by people from within his party, like it was with Mugabe, or by Ugandans coming up, like it was in Tunisia, or it was in Egypt, and all these other countries. So it is two situations.
However, Uganda cannot have an Arab Spring.
Did you say Uganda cannot have an Arab Spring? It does not have to be an Arab Spring. It will be a Ugandan Spring. I want you to know that Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso never knew it can happen until it happened. The rulers of Tunisia never knew it can happen. Gaddafi,
who didn't have farm security.
Oh, Gaddafi didn't have farm security, you mean to say? So all these can be said until it happens. Just like Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it happens. So what we are concerned with, like to answer the question you asked, is the Uganda after. Now we have to start thinking of that Uganda after President Museveni. And that is why all along I keep engaging people from across the divide. I have very, very good friends from the NRM. And when we're having a drink, I challenge them. I say, guys, we are here, we're young people, and we're talking. Are you trying to tell me that one old man is going to place us against each other and fool an entire generation? Are you trying to tell me we cannot decide what kind of Uganda we want and walk towards that? And the same thing with the opposition. So I believe after the fall of the emperor, there will be a new Uganda. Which new Uganda we must start thinking and talking about now.
Yeah, but do you see stakeholders really coming up? Take, for instance, opinion leaders, cultural leaders, religious leaders. How would you assess, how would you appraise them in the cause for change?
I applaud them a great deal. Of late, you've heard the outspokenness of the religious leaders. They've come out and pronounced themselves on issues. The civil society organizations have come out despite the crackdown on them. The students have spoken out. The politicians have spoken out from across the divide. Even members of the National Resistance Movement have spoken out. So leaders have spoken out. The writing is not just on the wall, it is on our faces.
So So, but then they have spoken out, but the evils continue. Corruption continues, greed for power continues, nepotism is continuing. So what is checked? Or what would you say have been the successes that the persons who've spoken out have gathered?
It is slow and small dots that keep adding. You must recognize that we are faced with a regime that has been in place for 32 years, going to 33. So it is deeply entrenched. This, you don't want me to call it enslavement, but I still will call it enslavement, has gone beyond physical. It is also mental. Many of our people don't even know they deserve better. There was a deliberate move to scrap teachings like political education, you know. Just some months back, the president instructed that his book is put in every school, but I've not seen the state deciding that the constitution of Uganda is going to be told in schools. So people don't even know their rights. It is just now that we see it important, not just to concentrate on we, the leaders and the politicians and the people that stand there, but we have realized that now the change has to come from bottom up, not from up bottom.
Do you subscribe to the school of thought that argues that President Museveni is the problem the country is putting up with?
If I could put it in better words, I would say President Museveni is the roadblock to democracy. Why? Because, you know, everything has been concentrated in the presidency. There is a fight in the taxi park, and the president wants to go there. There's a problem in the Ministry of Health, and the president wants to sort that. Issues of land, the president wants to do that. There's a nursery school that is being opened, the president is doing that.
That makes him a responsive president.
No, that makes him a dictatorial president. That makes him a president that disregards the leadership structure, a president that disregards and disempowers the institutions. So we need better. We need to break down the power structure again. We need to redistribute power to make sure we have people solving their problems at the basic level.
But you wouldn't see the president is a dictator when the same president listens to the outcry of the people. Take, for instance, the recent radical changes that he made in the police force. And perhaps I would pick your opinion on this.
Okay. We have a president that has been changing inspector generals of police, changing vice presidents, changing prime ministers, changing ministers, changing everybody that he can change apart from himself. We have grown up in his regime and we've listened to him religiously as our leader. It is so disappointing to hear a leader looking in every Ugandan's eyes on national TV and says we're here for fundamental change, and says we're here for 4 years. 4 years later, it changes it, you know. And now recently, he does not even want people to mention what he said. As if that's not enough. This is a leader that came on a national celebration and said, I'm not anybody's servant. Our constitution provides only for servant leadership. If you're not a servant, you're a dictator. It's only two sides. So he says, I'm not anybody's servant.
I understand.
Yes. Me? So if that is not a dictator, I beg you to educate me on what that person or such a character could be.
Aren't you falling into the trap of politicians whose preoccupation is Museveni, 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 without discussing policy?
The president is policy, my dear. If we were following policy, we would follow the constitution. If we have somebody that is above the constitution, what do you call that? So we are here not to politicize. We are here to open Ugandans' eyes and tell them, yo, all of us are the same. We must not let nobody run us. We must not let an individual run us the wrong way. We must rub that in the eyes of Ugandans so that they understand. The talk show, resolutions are going to be passed, they will not be respected. Laws are passed, they're not respected.
Yes, comrades, that has been the speech from the president, and as I told you, I'm going to give you more and more. Yeah, I'm going to give you more and more, such that, of course. Okay, let me see. What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Let me play for you a thank you message from the president.
This is Honorable Chagulanyi, also known as Bobiwine. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all the fellow Ugandans and friends of Uganda living in the diaspora, Europe, Asia, and in America, for the contribution you give in the struggle for a better Uganda. You guys are not leaving home, but you always do what you can. You always give in your time and resources to make sure that the struggle to better our country reaches its logical conclusion as soon as possible. We thank you very much, and we want to remind you that we don't take your passion for granted. The struggle continues, a luta continua. People power, our power.
A dangerous
Actually,
situation.
Alex, that's where we get it wrong. Taking an active part in the leadership and in the determination of the future of one's country is not getting involved in government stuff.
Yeah.
In any case, government is we the people. Uganda is predominantly a young population. We have over 80% under the age of 35.
Yeah.
So we have over 35 million Ugandans. Those decisions, yeah. So getting involved is everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
As an artist, or as a businessman, or as a farmer, or as a carpenter, we are equally bound to the decisions that are being made for us. So it is important that we don't shy away from how our country is run. And yes, you're right, we always get intimidated because for a long time, leadership and decision-making has been cordoned off by certain people, and making us, especially the young people, shy away from that, believing that it's for certain people involved.
And we rose up like the early birds. Yeah, like the early birds, like they say the early birds catch the biggest worms. We are here to address the biggest audiences in Uganda. Everywhere we go, Obubaka watu kayodda. Bana Uganda, we are so happy, we are so overwhelmed that this revolution is a people power revolution. Everywhere we go, people have embraced the message. Bali ready, and the country is so ripe for change. Change is just at the corner. So we only have to stand up and take that change. We need to take that freedom. Yes, bana Uganda, era ekirala njagala nnyo okubeebaza okuba nga mugoberera nnyo guno omukutu kubanga bagezezzaako okutujjawo naye ate naffe twalemerawo. The more they try to stop us, the farther we go. The more they try to kill us, the longer we live. The more they try to weaken us, the stronger we get. We'll fight. People will stand up, people will stand up, people will fight. They will fight for their rights. People will fight. People will stand up, people will stand up, people will fight. People are gonna fight and stand up and fight for the rights. Yes, we're here.
That's Father Nubian. This is Amuru. This is Amuru.